Welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. How we doing today? Coming to you live from Southern California. We're in Los Angeles, where the Blues took on the Los Angeles Kings last night. They play Anaheim tomorrow. We're actually doing this on a Thursday. This is our Friday tradition, but we are doing it a day early because tomorrow is a game day. So logistically, it was going to be a little bit more difficult to find time to record and get Jamal on the show and talk to Steve Ott and do some other stuff that we have planned for you on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Steve Ott's going to join us. We'll give you an update on what's going on down in the American Hockey League, where the Springfield Thunderbirds, they are trying to push for a playoff spot in the American League, and hopefully they can get that done. And, you know, the Blues obviously are right there in the thick of it. They're playing some important games down the stretch. A lot of young players are getting some great experience. They may get there, they may not get there, but nonetheless, they put themselves in position to play some meaningful games down the stretch, which is going to be great for a lot of the young players who are in the lineup right now. That's just the reality of it. So we'll get into some stuff with the Blues coming up. We talk some Blues hockey with Jamal Mayers, but we talk some other random NHL issues as well with Jammer. So you're going to enjoy this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by our friends over at First Community. And you've heard that mortgage rates are gone up recently. It's bad news for anyone who's ready to buy a home. So what do? What kind of home loan is best? Most people would say they want a 30-year term to keep their payments affordable, right? We hear that all the time, along with a great rate and low closing costs. First Community has the loan for you. Right now, their members' best home loan has a rate of 6% for 30-year term. That's outstanding. And at First Community, there's no fee for the application, the processing, the closing costs, all of that. There's no fees. They take all of that out. So apply today for the members' best home loan, where terms and conditions apply, of course. But call toll-free 1-888-642-7969 to learn more from First Community. Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. We love our friends at Dirt Cheap. These guys are absolutely unbelievable. The Wallace family just taking St. Louis to the next level, one dirt cheap at a time. Find a location nearest you, download the app, and do it today. They are just incredible people, and they're here to give you one deal after the next. Their deals are so good they call them steals. So do that and do it today with Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Don't sleep on the beer, wine, and booze. Don't sleep on the party supplies. They got the best selection of beer, wine, and booze you'll find anywhere. They got that walk-in beer cooler. It's about to get hot in St. Louis, I would imagine. Who knows? I hear it's rainy there this week, but it's going to get hot. And people always know, when you can't find me, where do you find me? You find me inside that beer cooler at a Dirt Cheap location. So do that and do it today. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Love having them on board with us here on Hockey Sense. And then Blue Note Roofing, David Novak probably isn't feeling the best today after that overtime loss yesterday. Trevor Moore essentially goes coast to coast, just a wild overtime, and he gets the game winner for Los Angeles. He beats Jordan Binnington on really a perfect shot. Jonathan Berggren was trying to defend the play. We'll talk about that here coming up in just a couple of minutes. And you can always call David Novak, talk some hockey with him as well. 314-920-5713. David Novak's the absolute best. He'll talk pucks with you and deliver the best roofing business you'll find anywhere. Best selection of shingles and everything else that you want. Roofing, gutters, soffit, fascia, siding, whatever it is you need. Works with all the major insurance companies. They'll give you that free estimate and take care of you today. So call David Novak, 314-920-5713. 314-920-5713. Lordo's Diamonds. Get that special someone something special in your life. You can always find, say, jewelry for Easter, man. There's still time to get that done. You can get in there today and walk out with it today. They've got great men's jewelry, too. I always talk about what's great for the women at Lordo's. If you're into watches and chains and stuff like that, check out their selection there. But get something special for your loved one. Best selection of engagement rings. They have incredible bracelets and necklaces and rings and all different types of jewelry, fashion jewelry. They're incredible. The Lordo family. Mike and Jimmy Lordo, they've been in business for over 70 years. That's all you need to know. 70 years. LordosDiamonds.com, right there in the heart of Ladue. Give them a call, 314-432-8008. You can check it out online, LordosDiamonds.com. right next to Truffles in the heart of the dew. You can't miss it. So check that out and do it today. Lordo'sDiamonds.com. And Easy Tiger Cannabis. It's so smooth. It's top shelf. It delivers high potency. It is exactly what you want in a cannabis company. Easy Tiger. Look for that label out of Arizona, but soon they're going to be nationwide, and we love having them on board with us here on Hockey Sense. So Easy Tiger Cannabis. EasyTigerAZ.com. That's the website. Check it out. They got great apparel too. So hook yourself up with some of the apparel. But if you're dealing with sleep issues, dealing with pain, dealing with arthritis, any type of medical situation you might be dealing with, there's a good chance that cannabis can certainly help alleviate some of those issues for you. So talk to an expert over at Easy Tiger and find out the product that is best for you. They don't play in the minor leagues. They play in the big leagues over there at Easy Tiger Cannabis. All right. Lots to get into here on this edition of Hockey Sense. First off, we had Doug Armstrong on last week. I appreciate everybody who had a chance to watch the show on YouTube or listen to it. And tell your friends, I still have a number of people who don't even know that we're doing this on a podcast. They just think that it went away because we hadn't been on the radio in about, a little over a year or so. But this is one of the best things we've ever done. Going to Half Coast Studios, where they are the best podcast studio in the country. In my opinion, they are incredible people, and they've taken the show to the next level. So again, we appreciate all the support we get from our fans who watch it on YouTube each and every week. And it's thanks to Half Coast Studios. Otherwise, we wouldn't have it up on the YouTube platform with Maddie and company and Alex and everybody else, and Aiden, who works with us every Friday too. So we certainly appreciate their help. The Blues lose last night in overtime. Just kind of a crazy game. The Blues just really couldn't find a way to score until late in the game. They were able to tie it up as the puck goes off a skate of Robert Thomas, and they're able to tie it up and force overtime. Had some chances in overtime too, and LA had some amazing chances prior to them scoring eventually and winning the game, but Broberg had a great opportunity. It was just kind of like an end-to-end overtime. If you like 3-on-3, you especially would love that one yesterday, unless you're a Blues fan, I guess, because LA ended up winning the game. But this Trevor Moore can flat-out skate. He just flies, and it was a great shot in full speed. Berggren, listen, he's not a defenseman. He's a forward. Could he have played it a little bit differently? Maybe, but I didn't think he played it that bad either. He may have been waiting for some help from Colton Parayko, who was tracking back too, and trying to get the angle on Moore, but they weren't able to do so. He scores the goal, and they win the game. And now L.A. finds themselves in a wild card spot. San Jose wins yesterday. They were down to Anaheim, end up winning the game, and not just winning the game, but winning it in regulation, which is huge because that tiebreaker is regulation wins. So they get a regulation win against Anaheim, and now San Jose is just 1 point out. They're right there with Nashville. It's going to be a fight to the finish, all the way down to the wire to see who ends up getting into the Stanley Cup playoffs out of the Western Conference. It's amazing. And same thing in the Eastern Conference too. So enjoy that. Keep paying attention to it. Big shout out to Jimmy Snuggerud. He gets the Rookie of the Month in the National Hockey League. He edged out a couple of good players. Ivan Demidov from Montreal. Jakob Dobas, our boy who's been on the show before, a goaltender for Montreal. He was incredible in the month of March. Go look at his numbers. Matthew Schaefer, I think he led all rookies in scoring in the month of March. He was unreal. But I love the fact that Snuggerud was able to get some league-wide recognition, get 14 points in 14 games. I think he was a plus 14 or something like that as well. So he obviously is playing his best hockey of the season. And now you just wonder, heading into next year, what will the expectations be for a guy like Jimmy Snuggerud? Is it to get to 30 goals? Is it 25 goals? What is it? He's only gaining more and more confidence, and it looks like they have something there with him and Robert Thomas. And hopefully Thomas can be a part of things, obviously they forward and continue to develop that chemistry with Snuggerud and Dylan Holloway, because they've got something going, and you got to love to see that. Now they kind of got to get their offense going again, right? I mean, that line seems to score every game. But nonetheless, maybe they've gone a little bit quiet from what we saw a week ago, where they were just hot and, arguably the best line in the National Hockey League for a good month stretch there. So we'll see how that plays out. But it was good to see the Blues find a way to get a point in that game at least and battle back and get it to overtime. I like what Doug Armstrong said last week about Theo Lindstein, that he said he was talking to Al McInnes, and um, you know that Lindstein's playing well when you don't even notice him. It's so true. I really like this kid way more than I thought I would. I liked him a lot when we saw him play in the World Juniors a few years back. He played in the World Juniors 2 years in a row. And the first year that he played in the World Juniors, he was a late add to Sweden and then ended up being like their highest scoring defenseman in the tournament for Team Sweden. And he scored some big goals. He was super productive in that tournament. And but I just felt like maybe it would take a little more time for him to be able to have this type of impact at the NHL level, just based off the way that he had played in Springfield for much of the season. And I think Steve Ott says it when he comes on with us. He was a minus 24 when Ott got there, ended up being a +1 in his handful of games that he played under Steve Ott. Now he's been a good player here, and obviously taking advantage of playing with Colton Parayko. But it was good to see him score his first career NHL goal. His family wasn't able to see it. They were sleeping. It was 3 a.m. over there in Sweden, so they weren't able to see it, but they obviously saw it the next day. He's just a great kid, so that was really, really fun to see Lindstein get his first career NHL goal. Guys like Mayu and these guys, listen, they're all coming at the right time. Mayu didn't have a great game against San Jose the other night, but he was better against Los Angeles, and obviously he's had some great games down the stretch. Hofer wasn't great against San Jose. That was the first time in a long time that he had a game like that. I think Hofer would have been in the running for NHL Player of the Month if he's able to close out that game and win the game against the Sharks. But that's a tough one in that particular game. But listen, you can't have anything negative or anything bad to say about Joel Hofer. He's been absolutely sensational. I want to give a big shout out to a couple teams here locally. St. Louis AAA Blues, their U16 team, coached by Sam Canfield. Barrett Jackman is on the staff. Anthony Capoletti, who also coaches DeSmet High School, is also an assistant longtime coach with the AAA program here in St. Louis with the Blues. And they lose in the national championship game. They had a 2-0 lead going into the third period and just couldn't hang on. Ended up losing in overtime. But what a great performance. What a great showing by the under 16 St. Louis AAA Blues. So a big shout out to that group. Jim Montgomery's son's on that team. The 2009 birth year, Barrett Jackman's son's on the team. They got a lot of really good players. Charlie Miniman, I believe, was a all-tournament performer. Their goaltender was an all-tournament performer. They had another player, I think, who got some post-tournament recognition. So big shout out. Way to represent St. Louis hockey in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The U18s lost in the quarterfinals. We'll talk to Jamal later on. In this episode of Hockey Sense, and his team was there too, his 2012s, and I think they went 2-3 in the tournament, but they had a tough schedule. They played Little Caesars, they played Mid Fairfield, the top team in the country for that age group, who ended up winning the national championship, and the Blues lost by a goal to them. So they had a real good showing, won some games, listen, it's just such a great experience for these kids to get to that level to begin with. So a big shout out. I'll be curious to see what Springfield looks like under Steve Ott if they're able to get to the playoffs, and say Brampton gets knocked out of the OHL playoffs, which I don't know is going to happen. They've been a top team in the OHL all season. Colin Ralph now is out with Michigan State. You just wonder when he's going to sign with the Blues, and if he does, if he goes straight to Springfield, he'd be certainly a player to watch. You want to see him turn pro. He's a big body who I think physically, obviously, is going to be able to adjust just fine. It's just the rest of the game, and see where that goes with Colin Ralph, and get his development as a professional started. But Jurasek could make the team next year here in St. Louis. I think there's a real good chance that he finds his way here. I don't see him coming to training camp and then playing his way down to the American League. He's such a good player, he's so talented, that I think he's going to get that opportunity. If you're going to have Lindstein and some of these other guys here, I think Jurasek, there's a good chance that he finds his way here next year too. But he could finish the year in Springfield should they get knocked out. How nice would that be for head coach Steve Ott? So I don't want to go too long here because I want to save some time for Otter. We'll get heavy into the Blues prospects and talk about that. The Blues now play in Anaheim on Friday. Then they go to Colorado on Easter Sunday. Then they come home and play against the Avalanche again. And they'll have a couple of home games next week before they go back on the road and play in Chicago. So listen, a lot of hockey left, and we'll see where this goes for the Blues. Hockey Sense, as always, is brought to you by First Community. We love our friends over there at First Community. They have a new Tesson Ferry location. Did you know that? They already have over 40 locations in Missouri and Illinois, including branches all over South County. But now, some great new news with First Community. The Tesson Ferry branch moving in April. I think they had just opened, actually. Just across Tesson Ferry Road, right next to the YMCA. You know where that is. Completely remodeled, full-service branch. They got the drive-through, the 24-hour ATM. They got the whole nine yard, everything, the bells and whistles at this brand new location. Beautiful location. So for a complete list of branches and hours, visit firstcommunity.com. Stop by the grand opening on May 2nd. If you live or work in South County, First Community's got you covered. No question about that. Blue Note Roofing, call David Novak today, 314-920-5713. Give David Novak a call today. Easy Tiger Cannabis, again, so smooth, so potent, so good. And you have any type of issues, medical issues, sleep issues, talk with an expert and find the product that's best for you. Lordo's Diamonds, get that special someone, something special in your life over there at Lordo's Diamonds. And Dirt Cheap Fun Fund, your one-stop party shop. Download that app today. You get free delivery if you live within 10 miles of a Dirt Cheap location. Get all those great deals that you get from the Dirt Cheap app. Dirt Cheap Fun Fund, your one-stop party shop. All right, let's step aside. Steve Ott joins us next on this edition of Hockey Sense. Jamal Mayers later in the show. Enjoy it. Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Here's Otter. All right, Otter, welcome back to the show.
Good to be here, my man.
14-10-2. Listen, that's your record since you've taken over. And I'm curious. You played a long time. You've been an assistant coach for a long time. Now that you're the head coach, really, what's the biggest difference? What's been the biggest adjustment for you?
I wouldn't say adjustment wise. There's too much different. I'd say responsibilities are different down here because you constantly want to make sure that the development is at the first and foremost of all the players. So for myself, what I would say is different is you have to manage your coaching staff. The trainers, making sure our schedule, the timing, and just want to be really well organized. And I think we've been able to accomplish that.
All right, so the Blues are in the hunt down here in the playoff. You guys are like in a very similar situation there. So what's the focus? You got I believe you're starting a 4-game homestand, right, against Hershey. Is that tomorrow? When does that start?
We have Hershey and Syracuse at home here tomorrow. And then actually just looking at the schedule the following week, we have a 3-3, and then we finish off on a Wednesday and Friday, Saturday again. So we have 8 games left. We're currently sitting tied with the last playoff spot, and it's kind of a log jam from 4, 5, and 6. And the top 6 teams get in the playoffs in our division. So we put ourselves back in this race, which is really exciting, and it's got some great feel and great energy to our dressing room.
All right, so describe the level of play in the American League versus the NHL. Obviously, it's not the NHL, but how would you describe it to the fans that are listening?
Well, you know what it is? It's kind of, I would say it's a very, very competitive league. And when I say that, I think the physicality is a lot higher in the American League. There's a lot of hitting, a very competitive, fighting, all those areas of the game, kind of like a little bit more old school, I would say 15, 20 years ago. These guys compete at a very high level down here. Now, obviously, the skill level wise of the NHL is what sells it with the speed and the tremendous stick work and skills that these guys have. Where you have that as well here as well, but I would say it's just more of a real gritty type of style of play down here, and it's a lot of fun to watch. It's very competitive.
All right, so in what ways are you more emotional on the bench, or do you find yourself being more emotional and more emotionally like engaged as a head coach versus an assistant, or is that kind of the same?
I would say it's kind of the same. I think that's part of who I am and character wise. I get emotionally invested in the game. So one thing I would say with that is I try to be stable though. You can't just ride the highs and the lows of it. You want to make sure you're stable and that constant pressure and patience on the bench as well. So I think I typically, talk a lot of hockey as the plays are developing or the structure side of it, and just continue to just keep the guys engaged.
Have you had a bench minor yet? Have you gotten in trouble with the refs?
No, no, I haven't. You know, the reffing down here, it's developmentally for everybody too. So you have to have patience towards that. You know, they're learning, and it's you know, obviously a step down in the sense of NHL reffing, but they're doing a good job down here, and the communication that they're teaching these young referees has been really well. So it's been easy to talk to them as well.
Are you glad you made the decision to do what you're doing right now?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I miss St. Louis, and all the team and the organization that I've put a lot of heart and time in, and missing the family is never easy. But at the same time, it's been outstanding. It's been everything that I wanted it to be and needed it to be. It's that next step in my own personal career path, and I'm absolutely loving it.
Who are you talking to the most from the Blues? Are you talking to Monty? Is it Steiner? Is it Army? Who would you say you're in contact with the most?
Well, we connect, I would say weekly, with everybody. Me and Monty are on a chat. Every week we're chatting it up on text messages. Obviously, in communication with Army and Steiner. I'm kind of just relaying messages, what's kind of happening down here, and then we do a weekly development call. So those are the organization's real tight and tied through, and we're all in this together.
What do you think the difference is between a guy who's trying to get to the NHL versus the guys who are in the NHL? Like, what does a guy need to do to really get to this level besides an opportunity?
Are you talking more player wise or
Yeah, player wise. Yeah, yeah, player.
player wise? I would say the details. Being reliable and making sure when you get your opportunity that you're well coached as a player, and your skills will always come out. But at the same time, you want to make sure that your game is at a high level. That the coach, when you go up, feels like he can trust you on the ice, and as that trust continues to build, and players buy shifts for that coach, I think it just becomes more confidence with the player. It becomes allowing him to use a skill set that might have got him there, and being true to himself as he continues to develop.
Yeah. I always wonder because so many kids down there, guys that have a lot of success at different levels. They get to the American League. It's like, oh, what separates an NHL player from a guy who's just trying to get there? So
No, it's big time. I think the big thing with that too, Strick, is you realize what type of player you are, and your role that you think that you're probably going to play. Not to pigeonhole anybody, but if you're maybe not a power play guy down here, and you expect to be a power play up there, it's not going to happen. So focusing on if you're penalty killing details or whatnot, and 5-on-5 where you are, if you're a true kind of power forward, well then you got to be a power forward here and show what you need to do and what you're going to look like as you get that opportunity in the NHL.
do you feel like you're always dangling that carrot in front of the nose of the players down there? Be like, listen, you want to get to the next level, you need to start doing this. Like, are you pretty honest with the guys?
Well, I try to be very honest. You want to make sure they have direction. And I think that's the biggest thing is, they're hungry for that next level. They want information all the time, and it's constant. If it's in the video work, if it's the details within practice, all those areas that you want to, help build a player to get that opportunity, and you want them to have that opportunity. I think that's the best thing is we're all in it to try to, get better every single day. And these guys, they've really bought in with all that.
How much do you think the guys on your team pay attention to what's going on here with the Blues? You think they're focusing on that?
We put on the game every morning, especially the highlights or whatnot. And, guys are talking and they know, or they ask me questions about certain players, that they think is interesting, or what, obviously the outcome of some of the games are. So we keep a real close eye on what's going up there. And especially with a lot of guys that are up right now, Theo Lidstein scoring the other night, Otto Stenberg that have played with us currently, even Devo, so they were teammates down here with these guys, and I think it's really important that they're excited for them to have that success as well.
So I guess with Linston, you've had that opportunity to be the guy to tell him that he's going to play in the show for the first time, right? Were you the guy that gave him the news, and what was that experience like?
Yeah, well, I wasn't the guy that gave him the news because I think it was actually during an off day, but was able to contact him. And I think I had him for about 18 games before he got the call up, and I'm excited for him. I reached out to him a few times now, and just watching his game and watching him grow at the NHL level has been a lot of fun. And you know what, it's great to see a good kid that's very coachable, take that next step.
He's a good player, man. I mean, he can really skate. Like sometimes, you look at the stats only because I don't get to watch your team play that often, and I see like a dash 23 or whatever he was down there. His plus minus obviously wasn't very good. Now he's up here. He's playing with Parayko. I mean, he's got like a elite skating ability. I thought Doug Armstrong put it perfectly the other day when we were talking. He said, he's at his best when you don't notice him, and he is a guy you just don't notice him a whole lot, which is probably a good thing when you're evaluating a player like him. But I've been honestly really impressed with Theo Lissy. I didn't know what to expect in terms of him playing in the NHL. You knew he was a good player and you watched him in the World Juniors and all that, but this guy looks like he belongs out here.
Well, I think he does. And I'll tell you one thing, you got to realize before I got here, he was minus 23, or maybe 24. And in the 18 games I had him, he was +1. So you want to talk about a difference and him buying into the details, like you're saying, with his skating, how his stick became a real defensive weapon. And then his feet getting up the ice, where he times it perfectly, and he was scoring a lot of goals for us too. I think there was 3 games in a row where he scored every night, so he was getting great opportunities and good looks, and kind of honing in his game. And then when you get him up into the NHL, and with his elite skating, let alone and first pass ability, he doesn't get himself in trouble. So that's, I think, a very good sign for a young player.
Yeah, and like 6 goals too that he was playing scoring for you. I remember some of the highlights, watching some of the goals he scored, and I said on TV the other night when he scored, it's like this is not a fluke that he found himself in that position and he was able to score from that area of the ice, because I've seen him do it with the highlights from down in Springfield. So I'm excited to see how he continues to grow. How much do you think it helps him coming here playing with Colton Parayko?
Well, I think that's a lot. I mean, anytime you get to play with a player of the stature of Colton Parayko, Colton shut down some of the top players in the league. Obviously, a Stanley Cup champion and just a true professional, on and off the ice. So to have a guy like him beside you, I can tell you one thing: Theo is a lucky guy to be obviously dressing and playing with him.
Tell me about Zach Dean, because he came over in the Barbashev trade. Then he stepped away for, personal reasons, whatever. Now he's come back, and I'm starting to hear some good things about him. Like, you think he's got NHL potential? Is he on that path to get to the NHL?
Oh, for sure he does. I would say his game continues to get better week in and week off. I mean, it was a little banged up with an injury, and he played right through it. Took a couple weeks off, and he's kind of just continuing to grow. One thing with Diener is using him in key situations, especially penalty kill, shut down lines. I move him, kind of all over. So he has that Swiss Army knife type of ability. If it's face-offs, it's the left wing, center. He's just one of those glue players that you need on your roster, and I think he's been doing a heck of a job for us down here.
All right, the one guy whose name comes up all the time when I talk to people around here about your team, it just always does, and I feel like you love this guy, is Quentin Burns. Like, I need to know more about Quentin Burns. Is he a throwback? Is he old school? Like, what's this guy all about? Because I've seen him in prospect camps, and he's got that edge to him, Otter, which I know you appreciate.
I do. You know what? Funny thing is so day one when I got here, just throwing the practice together, and we're a pretty competitive day, and especially at defensive detail practice. I didn't realize that he wasn't playing. He was down in the coast and whatnot, and I went to the assistants and I asked, why is this guy not dressing? And he just came back up, and I said, well, he's playing the next game. I love his attitude, how he approaches the game or whatnot, and I was really impressed, and he caught my eye from day one. So then he turned into games. And how does he play? I would say he is a throwback old school man in his game. When I mean that with a lot of respect, very physical, can pressure pucks, tough as nails. But also, I think the big thing that goes unnoticed is how many great little plays he makes. His ability to make escape plays and use his feet, kind of putting him on the radar on both sides of it. So for me, you think of a guy like Joel Edmondson. It comes to mind for myself that I saw develop. And, if he can continue to, grow his game and mold it, you're going to see a player there. Now, with saying that, He's, the old cliche stuff. He's the first one at the rink every single day. He has pro characters where it's like leadership qualities at a 20-year-old. So there's a lot to be excited there. At the same time, he's got to continue to develop, and it's not a rush scenario. It's continue to build his game.
Yeah. And now he's got a coach, and not to say that he didn't before, but I mean, it's good to have a coach that appreciates that type of stuff, right? And sees that. You want to see who's at the rink first, and don't be the last guy at the rink, Otter, right? Be the first guy at the rink.
Well, if you want to be a pro and this is your job, you take it seriously. And for him, some young guys, it takes a little bit of time to learn that, but for him to already have that instilled in him to really want it, you can see the desire.
All right. So how's this Felix Trudeau kid that you just got out of college? And what's that first conversation like between you and him? What do you tell him when he first turns pro and becomes a professional?
Well, first of all, I was very excited for him. I mean, he could have chose a few teams. He had, some options, and he chose the St. Louis Blues organization. So right away, it carries weight there that he picked us and he wants to develop under us and push his career. So I was excited. I didn't know much about the player. I watched, had Chad Wiseman, one of our coach, pull up all the power play goals that he had scored this year, and kind of, where to see him, where to fit. And right now, he's stepped in. He's given us two really, really good games. He's made our team a lot deeper up front, which is nice. He's got great skating ability, can absolutely rip the puck, and he's a big kid as well. He's about 6'2", so he's got that great kind of development path as a lot of these young guys, where we have size to it, plus some really good high quality play in his style.
All right, listen, so I could go down the roster and ask you about every player, and I'm sure the fans would love me to do that. I'm not going to do that to you, though, Otter. But I do want to know, like, who's really, from the day you got there, has really shown strides and incremental improvement where you're just really impressed with how he's developing and how much improvement you've seen since day one.
Well, I would say that Kaskimaki has to be up there. What he is a 200-foot player, high-end hockey IQ. His stick last game was one of the best I've seen in a long time, and that's on penalty kill and 5-on-5. And not only that, he plays a north game, makes a lot of small plays in the offensive zone, and is getting rewarded. So right now, since being here, he leads the forwards in ice time. So I would say development path wise, he's a guy that's probably going to be a really good third line player in the NHL one day. That's very reliable. So I would say been really happy with him. Great strides out of Pekarsik and Stansel as well. You've touched on Burns in the young guy department as well, but there's a lot of guys. A sneaky one would be Gaudette on the back end. He runs our second power play unit. He's big, long body. As he continues to get more of a stronger skater, you can see his game kind of taking off as well. So touching those up, Cranley's came in as one of our goalies and done extremely well. He we got kind of shellacked against Providence in shots, and he was outstanding. He kept us into a 2-1 game. So, and he won the game before in Belleville. So Cranley's another player that's doing really well. And then there's guys like Peterson that have continued to improve, that put himself on the map. So we have a lot of guys that are pushing the competitiveness up in culture-wise into our organization.
Yeah, Peterson would be a guy to me that I would think it's like you have to, like, if you want to play in the NHL, this is what you're going to have to be good at and what you're going to have to really establish yourself to be, because I feel like he's got the tool. I saw him get in a fight a few weeks ago. There was a highlight of that. Obviously watching him play from back when he was at the U.S. program, then Boston University. I mean, he's always been a really, really talented player. But for him to get to the next level, he's got the size, right? I mean, but it's just identifying who you're going to be to get here, right? Is that fair assessment there?
I would say it's fair. I say he's a true power forward. And I would say it's just the consistency within his game that he needs to continue to hone in. You have young players that maybe you see what their potential is 1 every 5 games. It's flipping it to where it's 4 out of every 5 games. We know what you're getting every single night. And I think Petey's taken that big step of that. He's been driving hard to the net. He's getting rewarded that way. He's been strong on the walls. and he's a forechecking type of player. So I think he's taken a pretty big step in the last few weeks for sure, and seen that more consistent of late.
So Kaskimaki played a handful of games up here in the NHL this season, and I don't know what the takeaway was from how he played, right? But how do you make sure a player isn't just solely evaluated based on those handful of games, you know? Like if they don't put up any points, they don't score, maybe they're a minus player, and maybe they don't have their best showing. How do you make sure that doesn't hurt the player in terms of getting more opportunities? Which he's going to get more opportunities. This guy's going to play in the NHL.
You know what? Unfair to Kasky. When he was called up with us, we were going through a really tough time in St. Louis, and it's never easy for a young guy to come in when the team's not doing well. And that was a hard 6 games for him, but he also got a taste of it, which was really important. Got to play his first game and whatnot in the league, but now it's more of like how when you get that chance, how do you never come back down? And I think he's a lot closer to that than he is the other way. So it's continue to build his game down here so that when he does get that opportunity, he won't see this league again.
Do you think you could have some reinforcements coming from college or junior? I mean, potentially, like if teams get knocked out, I mean, could a Urasek be there to help you in the playoffs, or a Kyle or Ralph, or any of these guys?
Possibly, I would say that's what this league's for, right? So especially in those type of situations when guys are finishing out, they give them a taste of pro hockey. I'm kind of just learning a lot more of that of late to see how your roster really expands down here in those situations. So, having 2 ice surfaces type of deal, almost like a Black Ace squad for the finish out the year and into playoffs. So we'll see who ends up coming to us, and when they do. Yeah, they're a part of this team, and we keep moving forward.
How does the schedule line up with the Blues schedule and your schedule? Like if the Blues don't make the playoffs, I mean, Lindstein and Stenberg and these guys could be playing with you, right? They could finish the season down there, couldn't they?
Possibly they could. You know what? That's a management question for sure. But
I mean, eligibility, right? They're eligible to come back down.
they are both eligible. So yeah, I think that would be organization what's best for them at the moment when it does. But let's hope the Blues get in the playoffs and so do the Thunderbirds, because that would be a great look towards the end of the year here if both teams can get in.
I don't know how much. I know you're paying attention to the Blues, but they've gone on this run. You guys went on a crazy run last year too. So I don't understand why exactly it happens, but it's been a little bit of a similar feel. Goaltending's been incredible down here. So when you watch the Blues play right now, like what do you think the biggest difference is with the team now versus when you were here for the first 50 games or whatever?
Well, you know what? It's not fair to say what's going on or whatnot in the dressing room and everything, but the youthfulness that you're seeing is becoming contagious. And Mayhew's taken a huge step. Snuggie had a phenomenal month. Joel Hofer's taken a monster step. So it's really that youthful energy I see when they're playing games. The line of Devo, Otto, and Berggren I watched the other night. They had a heck of a night. I believe it was in San Jose. So I'm keeping my eyes on all the guys, and it's so fun to see them winning, having success, and playing the game the right way. They've been real stingy defensively, not giving up much as well, and goaltending has been outstanding, like you said. So it's from afar. I'm proud of the group. Hopefully, they can continue to push forward and get a playoff spot.
As a head coach, Otter, how long does it take for you? I mean, could you come in mid-season before you feel like, okay, now it's my team, and you're able to kind of implement everything that you want to see in a team in this particular group? Because you can't do that in day one, right? It takes a little bit of time.
It does take a little bit of time, but they were starving for information, I would say, and how we want to do things. And I told them right from the get-go, when I watch video, I want to catch you guys doing things right and what the structure is within it. And, we show a lot of that stuff, not just positive things. It's just doing the structure right that has success in 5-man units, playing in all 3 zones a certain way. And this is what we look like. What type of team and what's our identity? And I think we found our identity within a week or 2, and now we know what our game looks like, our A games look like, and even our B games. What we expect from our group, and I think we got a good squad. So for us to get in, I think we can hopefully do some damage in the playoff time when we get there.
I know what a competitor you are. You want to win every game. So honestly, what's it like when a guy gets called, like your best player gets called up or whatever, then you lose that guy. Are you are you like, oh, I'm so happy for you, or like, oh man, I could have used you this weekend, to like help us get in the playoffs. That's got to be a little bit different, right?
No, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm so excited when a guy gets called up to NHL. It's the best league in the world. Having that opportunity, if it was, Matt Luff and Hugh McGing when they got called up there a couple months ago, and Otto and Theo, like when guys go up, it's the dream league. That's where everybody wants to be, and it's so self satisfying to like you as a coach when a player gets called up and has success. So, does the team get a little bit mangled up a little bit? Yeah, it happens down here, right? And that happens to everybody because it's a development league where you are feeding the best league in the world.
All right, so I'm sure there's a lot of assistant coaches in the NHL. I'm sure you even felt like this at times. Hey, listen, I'm ready to be a head coach, and a lot of these guys obviously are, and I never doubted that you would be. But what do you think you've learned the most from the time you've been down there as a head coach that maybe you, you know, didn't really respect maybe as much in terms of your overall growth as this coach? Yeah, I probably needed to go through some of this. What would that be?
Nothing really shocked me, Strick. I would say it's complete, actually opposite, because I think I put in the last 10 years and gained so much experience. I had great mentors from Chief, Hitch, obviously Monty, and working with Benny and Mike Yo to start. Like you learn so many things along the way of experience, and I think I've taken a lot of that. I wanted to make sure when I got this opportunity that I was overripe, and I think I've come in with that type of attitude where I feel like I'm completely ready for this opportunity, and to be honest with you, it's felt very natural. So I've really loved this opportunity.
Okay, that's a great answer, man. I wish you the best. Hopefully, you guys get in. We're going to do this again, and then I'll go through the rest of the roster next time, Otter, and ask you about everybody else. Uh, but keep it going down there. You guys are playing great, and honestly, I didn't think that you guys were even going to be in position to make the playoffs, and you guys have played your way into that situation. So hopefully, you guys can get there and be a great experience for a lot of these young guys that are eventually going to get here. So even if you don't, the experience of playing these big games down the stretch up here or down there is going to be meaningful. So thanks for doing this. How's the family? Everybody's good?
Everybody's doing great. Yeah, the boys and my daughter and my wife, everybody's doing great in St. Louis. They're busy with hockey. You know how that is right now. So, it's springtime. So a lot of spring hockey. I'm sure Ty's doing the same thing.
Yeah. Get that boat ready, Otter. In a few months, though, you got a little ways to go before you got that boat.
I want to have a heck of a run, so hopefully we worry about that before summertime.
Yeah, you got a ways to go. All right, all the best. Keep going. Continue success down there in Springfield, and we'll talk soon.
You bet. Thanks, Tricky. Appreciate
All
it.
right, thanks, Otter. Talk soon. All right, Jammer's back on with us. I kind of like that background. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a rental, but it'll make do back into an office next year, but this is what we have to live with for till next season.
Can I see the painting? You got to move your head out of the way. I need to see the painting. Who did that?
Oh, the same guy who did a lot of them. Arrigo.
So what is that? Is that just a Blues, or is that with you and every team you played on?
Every team. So that's me with the Blues, that's me with the Cup with the Hawks, and then every team's represented. Leafs, Hawks, Blues, Calgary, San Jose. I think that's it. And then it's got my stats here. I blurred them out because they're not great, so you can barely see them.
You can keep your games played, though. So this is a message for all the viewers out there and listeners. Make sure you subscribe and watch on YouTube so you can see what we're talking about, because a lot of people just listen on the podcast app, and I get that too. But if you get a chance, check out the YouTube so you can see what we're talking about. All right. So if I had a vote listen, Macklin Celebrini, he may get the heart, Jamal. And last night's performance, and even the performance before that against St. Louis, he is. I don't see anybody in the league, and I shouldn't say this because McKinnon gets 50 last night, and who are they without him, even though they lose? I think it was like 8-6 the final. They lost to Vancouver. Terrible loss. Makar didn't play. We all know how great McDavid is. Kucherov. I mean, these teams, you take them out of the lineup, they're nothing. San Jose is, and I mean this with all due respect, they are not a good hockey team. But when he's on the ice, they are a good team. Like, you know what I mean? He is everything to that team. Everything. And I like that Winberg too, though.
Yeah, that's very fair. I think that you know, I've been screaming at my top of my lungs since November about how special Macklin is. He surprised me in his ability to produce offensively. I thought he was more like Jonathan Tays, you know, 70, 85 point a game type of guy. He is the most complete player I've seen in 30 years. Like, to think about being that responsible defensively, always on the right side of the puck, and be able to step up in the biggest moments when your team needs it. I have never seen that except for Crosby. But Crosby, it's hard for people to remember. He wasn't wasn't that responsible defensively at 19 and 20. Like, he grew into that, but not at 19. Like, I mean, I don't think Macklin is offensively as gifted as McDavid, but he's right behind him. And I mean, to be able to step up and have that in his DNA in those moments, like, think about what he's going to be at 25. Like, he's already stronger than guys, stripping pucks, out muscling puck area, and then you see the skill. Like, imagine when he gets his like man strength, because you're not as strong as you're going to be at 19. It takes you till 24, 25.
Yeah, he has the puck the whole game.
It really is fun to watch. It's great for the Bay Area and what he's been able to accomplish. I think it expedites Mike Greer's plan, Dougie Waite's plan, and what they're going to do this summer. If they get in, fantastic. That should be the focus and is the focus. But I think his maturation, he puts some pressure on them to go out and like build some depth. I love Wenberg. He's not a second line guy on a winning team, but he's a perfect 3. He's a perfect 3C. I don't know if Misa's the 2, he'll play out the season as though he is the 2, but he's close. He got better too this second half since he got back from World Junior. So, but they're gonna have to go out and get some guys like some top end wingers. So they're gonna have to insulate the group a little bit better, and defensively they're 3D away. They're playing well now, but they gotta go and get some guys. Trade, give out some assets. Because the thing is, I don't know if you've done a deep dive into the Barracuda, but I have. They've got some legit players coming, and as you know, they all can't play in San Jose. If you have 4 that are legit that you've drafted in the first round, they're not all going to play. So why would you hold on to them? To me, you've got to look to move a couple of those guys because teams are going to want them, and bring in a couple stud D that can really help you for next year.
Yeah, and I didn't even look to say, and I know Celebrini had 4 points last night. I mean, I'm working the game in LA and I'm seeing Anaheim's up like 2-1 and 3-2. I'm like, okay, Anaheim's going to win this game. And all of a sudden, not only did San Jose win, they won in regulation. But so by my calculations, because the Blues just played San Jose, so I know that Celebrini had 3 points in that game. He got to 101, so he must be a 105 right now. But like the second leading scorer is Will Smith. He's got like 50 points. It's like, how come no one like assists and all? How come he gets all the points? Nobody could be at like 70? Like he's at 105 and the second closest guy is like 50 points behind him. That's insane.
Well, I think Will would be at 70 points, 75 points, but he got injured. And so he's missed some games. I think he's only played 50 odd games. That's a big factor. Chernyshov was not with the group. I think he's a tremendous compliment to, and a funny story I could tell you quickly is, and I don't know if he wants me sharing this, but I think I hope he doesn't mind, but I ran into an executive, I'll just say that was asking Mike Grier about Chernyshov before he got called up. And Mike was like, entertaining it. What are you thinking you would give us back? Blah, blah, blah. Then Chernyshov got called up for those 12 games, had 9 points in those 12 games. And I guess Greer called him back and said, yeah, we're not moving him.
I like it. Who's the
Oh,
kid
yeah, that
that,
works.
who's the kid that fought Mayu?
Oh, that's Ostapchuk. Zach Ostapchuk. He is better than I thought he was when he first got called up. He's a big centerman. He skates way better than I thought, and he's gotten better all year. He's a perfect fourth line center for whoever's going to be around him. He's going to be a guy you can like when they're winning. I think he can still be that guy and grow into that role in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, he was a second round pick. He's a big kid, a 6'4",
Yeah, and he can skate.
215 or whatever he is. Yeah, San Jose is interesting. You played there. I'm curious to see what kind of destination it's going to become for free agents. What's the selling point? Like, what's the market like living there? Because it's not LA, it's not San Francisco, it's not Northern California. It's just like its own spot, you know?
Well, the great stuff about it is the weather's unbelievable,
Mm-hmm.
and you are literally an hour and a half from so many things. You're talking about San Francisco. You're talking about Santa Cruz, which is the beach. Carmel, Monterey. You could go skiing. Um, yeah, there's so much within an hour and a half away. Napa Valley, if you like wine. Um, and it's 70 degrees every day. I don't know. It is expensive. You live like it's Silicon Valley, so that would be the negative. Um, but honestly, it's a fantastic. There's no bugs. I barbecue every day. If you like living outdoors, it's and when that building is rocking, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, shifting gears. Max Domi, his fight with Gudis. Does that forgive Toronto for not stepping up and, reacting to Austin Matthews getting hit? Do you look at Toronto any differently now? Because all eyes were on them, and so for one game, Jammer, they decided, hey, we're gonna show everybody. But in reality, what does it really tell you about Toronto?
I think it's unfortunate that happened. I think I I'm not going to say I don't think they don't care. I think that they had one or too many of the wrong guys on the ice at that time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you take the same team and you have two guys, replace two guys with two guys, one of those two guys reacts immediately, and no one's talking about this. I think sometimes we overstate what should happen. I think, if I'm being honest, I think when it's not the right guys on the ice, it is scary for those guys to want to go do something. And it's not in their nature. It's not how they react. Now, did they learn from it and will they hopefully react differently? I think well, my hope is that you learn these lessons when you're 13, 14, 16, 19, 20, so that by the time you get to the highest level, you understand the pack mentality and it should be unspoken how you react. I think they'll not happen again with that group. I think that it should never happen again. It shouldn't happen with any team. It's one of the things I'm most proud of. I had to learn. I came from college. Like, we didn't have any. I was very lucky having guys around that, the Scott Mellenbys, the Dallas Drakes, the Chris Prongers, Al McInnes, Mike Keane. These are guys that you constantly are absorbing stuff from and watching how they conduct their business. And you learn, okay, I have to react like that in that situation. But until you've been in that situation, you don't know what to do, type of thing. So I think it's a little bit overblown in some regard. I think you got to balance about who was on the ice. I think if Max was on the ice, he would have done something right away, and we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But there is the next shift too, right? I mean, there's in the
Great
game.
point. Yeah, I mean, I'd be like I'd be like, you got to put me out there.
No, I know. Um, all right, so Bruce Cassidy gets fired. 8 games to go. I actually was texting with him a little bit yesterday. And listen, I get the new coach bump that you get. I mean, it's obvious like Vegas is probably going to win some games now here in the short term. I mean, they have the playoffs around the corner, so and I always wonder, like, he was on the bench of Team USA. Like, did Noah Hannafin and Jack Eichel, like, were they like talking to management, being like, this guy would be a great fit? Did management go to them and say, hey, what was your experience like with him? What would you think? I don't know how that works. Maybe they don't even know. But when you see something like that, for a guy who won a cup there, and throw out the fact that his players may not like him, and I know they didn't love him in Boston, and he can be a lot when it comes to Bruce Cassidy. I think he really grinds on guys. But when you see management make this type of decision at this stage of the season with a team firmly supplanted, or not firmly, but they're in the playoffs, they've got LA obviously nipping at their heels. How do you react to that?
Yeah, a couple things. You mean as a player?
Just in general,
In general,
organizational philosophy of doing something like that at this stage of the season. I mean, we just don't see it very often.
yeah. First thing is, I do not think for a second that they talked to any Noah Hannafin or Jack Eichel, and I'll tell you why. Because the Brad McKinnon is running the show there, correct?
Yep.
He is a Kelly McCrimmon, sorry, very smart hockey person that understands that how disruptive that could be if you do not make a move and you're just asking and gaining information. You're going to have to gain that information somewhere else. You can't get that information from your room, because what if you don't make the move? You go to him with 15 games left. You say, don't tell anyone, but I need to know what you think of this guy. It's human nature. What do you think they're going to tell their roommate of the guys they hang out with?
Of course.
Can you believe this? I don't know. He might be on his last leg. They can't have that and allow the coach to continue. I have to believe that they wouldn't be that reckless. In my opinion, that's reckless. Get your information somewhere else if that's the decision you're going to make. I'd be shocked if that's what they did. I also believe that this kind of fits with who they are and what they are philosophically, what their expectations are, that they are willing to get rid of a coach that won them a Stanley Cup, because the standard has not been met. They haven't played to their expectations. And I think it's healthy. I think too many organizations sit idle. They wait to see. They're unsure. What are we going to go for? Let's go for it in 2 years. No, like they have proven, and I'm shocked more teams don't operate like them. It's ruthless, but they have proven that it works. It works. They have been since they came in a top team. They are once again, if they get their stuff in order, they're a top contender. They haven't had poor goaltending. They need better goaltending, but they're still a cup contender. So I think they also recognize the Pacific is kind of weak. There's an opportunity here. We could get to the conference final. Anything can happen then. So I think that that's what they're looking at too, is like, if we can get this back in order, we can make a run. And so I commend it. I think it's refreshing, keeps the players on their toes. Imagine if you're Mitch Marner, you got sold a bill of goods, you like this coach, you get along with him, great, sign this long-term deal, and now 9 months in, you've got Tortorella. Like you sure hope you get along and he likes you.
Yeah, I know. Although maybe he didn't like Cassidy, and who knows? What's your read on Torts? I don't think you ever played on a team that he was on the staff, right? So, but I know you've heard things just like the rest of us, but you're talking to players and stuff like that. Like maybe he gets a little bit of a bum rap. I mean, we have a lot of guys on our podcast, Cam, and guys tend to speak pretty highly of him.
Yeah, I think that I've heard I would like him as a player.
He'd like you, man. You just play hard.
Like, play hard. So, I think that I like when a coach has passion there's some of these new coaches, in my opinion, they're very cerebral, analytical, tactical. Our game is still emotional, right? You still need, it's a long year. You need that fire. I love coaches that get fired up. You could feel that energy as a player. I like that. Um, I think that he'll keep their better players accountable on a nightly basis. I think that that's healthy for, I think friction is healthy. He's a disruptor. He's going to get in there. He probably won't last more than 3 years. It doesn't really matter if he gets them to another cup. Like, so, I like coaches like him. I think that there's still room for that. The players, well, I always say this, the players haven't changed from generation to generation as much as people like to say. Our expectations of them, the way that we have to communicate to them, perhaps has had to change. He probably had to change, just like Joel's had to change and have more conversation with players, let them know that he likes them and about that whole dynamics had to change. But you still have to have accountability. You still have to tell them what the standard is, and then let them. And once you establish it, that's the only concern. Is 8 games enough time to establish the standard that it's then owned by the team? Or are you going to spend the rest of the year, including playoffs, creating that standard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Listen, I love the fact that it makes it interesting, it makes it fun for a lot of the fans out there, but certainly unconventional, no question. Cale Makar is out. They're saying he's going to miss some time. I mean, you see them give up 8 goals to Vancouver, one of the worst teams that we've seen. Certainly a terrible, a bottom feeder right now in the NHL. Candace says, like, what does this mean to the Colorado Avalanche? You know, they've got a lot of great players, and they still have Devin Taves on the back end and some of these other guys, but that is a massive hole. You just can't replace him. What does he mean to the team? Like, what does this mean for Colorado now?
I think this is my hope. I think we haven't seen what Malinsky can be
Okay.
offensively. I think there's a lot more there. I don't think he gets to play in those situations. Well, we're gonna find out.
He's playing with Taves now.
Yeah, we're gonna find out because that kid, I watched him. I've asked about him when I did a game in Colorado. I asked Johnny Mitchell and who's the other former defenseman that's there doing TVs for them.
John Michael Lyles.
Talked to him about him specifically, and they said, yeah, there is a lot of good stuff there that he doesn't play in those situations. So if I'm Malinsky, I'm excited about the opportunity, and I think he's going to get a little bit of a runway here to see if he can shoulder some of what Cale does, some of what he does.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I mean, you hope he gets back. He's such a great player. You want to see him play in the playoffs for sure. Getting back to Toronto, they fire Brad Treliving late in the season. They have a press conference that didn't go over very well, just in terms of the reaction to the press conference. What kind of impact will that have on a team when you fire the general manager? Because it is interesting in Buffalo, the team started winning a ton of games after Yarmo came in, and they moved on from Kevin Adams. So, how does that? What kind of reaction do you see in the locker room when you fire the general manager?
Well, it really puts into question whether or not Craig Berube will be there, right? I think that, and I like Chief as a coach. Never had him as a coach, but he's a great coach. He's a Stanley Cup winner. I'm not sure he had the types of players to play the type of game he wanted to play. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted them to forecheck. He wanted them to get after it. He wanted them to defend. That's his formula for winning. It worked in St. Louis. It worked in a lot of places that he's been. That's not how they're built. And so I think he was put in a really difficult position. And perhaps that's what, the upper management saw, is that it wasn't necessarily fair to cheat, to be expected to get this team to change the way they played so drastically. I also think the Marner situation hung over them. Misplaying that, getting nothing in return, except for, no offense, I believe it was Roy. is a misstep, is a miss, and you either got to keep him or you got to move him earlier to get more for him. And so I think the way that has really hurt the team, sealed his fate.
Before we let you go, your take on St. Louis now. You know, they lose in overtime last night. San Jose.
80 points.
Okay. And San Jose, I mean, listen, San Jose scores with 21 seconds left, so they didn't get any points in that game. But I mean, that's a tough balance though, Jamal, because they're so close. They're right in it. I mean, they are in it.
Well, how many teams say they got to climb?
I know. They got to jump over a number of teams. Yeah.
It's not the point. It's the number of teams in front of them. And like, to me, when you make the decisions you made this is honestly what I would do. You make those moves at the deadline was the idea that you're going to retool. I would start calling up guys. I would start sitting out guys. You do not need to be winning. Think about how frustrating it is going to be if your pick is 14 when it could have been 6.
Yeah.
Right? That's a different player. 14 to 16 overall and 4 to 6 overall, third overall is way different. Like, the coaches and the players, let's be clear about this. They are playing to win. They don't care about any of that. They are coaching to win. Their players are playing to win. It's the manager, in my opinion, in those situations that can tweak things and mess with it a little bit by taking away players, by calling up players, by sitting out. They can do a lot of creative things because I don't think this is just my opinion. I don't think it's a good idea that they continue to win down the stretch and ruin their position for draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. And you were at the game, obviously, in St. Louis. You've seen St. Louis play. Like, how far away is St. Louis? I know the expectations were one thing coming into this year, but that's because it got so accelerated from last year, and they didn't have a great first half of the season this year. But do you think they're not far away from real? Yeah,
I don't think they're far away. They really surprised me with how well they played defensively, and their gap control was unreal. Like, all the D were right in the back pocket. They didn't give you much at all off the rush in that game. And you know what? I think sometimes when you move guys, you move Falk away, and you got the young defenseman, the French kid come in and eating up more minutes. Mayu, he was way better than I thought. I'm like, wow, this kid has something. It's a classic. Not every one of those guys, it's audition time, right? Not every one of these guys that gets called up that's getting more minutes is going to actually get that seat, but they're sure going to make it difficult on management, and that's their job. And I think that I'm happy for Monty to get it back on the rails, if I'm being honest, because I think he was quietly under the radar, under a lot of pressure. It was like, what are we as a group? Is the team that bad? Is it this? Is it that? I think he's kind of calmed it down, that if you play the way I want to play, we can have success. And I think that's what he's showing.
And when you have a goaltender like Joel Hofer, and Binnington played last night, he played great last night, actually, against LA. But Hofer coming up together with all these guys, they're all in the same age group.
So now if you're going to trade Benner in the offseason, you got to. It's not a question. It's, let's help you get to where you want to go kind of situation.
Unless he's okay with it.
Being a backup?
Well, how do you look at goaltending? Do you have to have a number 1 and a number 2, or can you have like a 1A, 1B, where the 1A is obviously playing 2 out of every 3, they're playing more games. But it's not like, I think if you have Binnington, like, and again, Hofer's played great. He had a tough beginning to the season. He didn't play great in San Jose the other night, right? So I just love having 2 goalies, Jamal.
I think that's a nice sentiment to have. I'm going to tell you this: Benner's not sticking around when he's playing well as a playing for the games.
You're right.
It's a different thing when he doesn't like. He's like, I don't have my game yet. Get your game in order, it's back in order. He's not going to like that situation. So that's the reality. Is we got to get you moved. We believe in Hofer. It's grateful. Obviously, brought us the Stanley Cup. There should be a statue outside. unbelievable what he's been able to do in his career. Most wins ever for St. Louis Blue. Everyone's run ends at some point. I think he can very easily go somewhere else and win a Stanley Cup. You can get some great assets in return. I think the summer is the perfect time to look to move him.
And eventually you have to turn things over to Hofer. Like, he's that good.
Yeah, and it's probably something that I would guess that Skinner would want to do. I mean, it can't be that easy managing guys you played with, so it's like completely understand it from that perspective as well.
Expand on that. What do you think that's like to be the GM of, like, you got, he's got teammates. It's funny because he's talking to, like, Joel Edmondson after the game. I saw Joel, and they were teammates. They won a cup together. Like, you're managing now, and, like, guys that you played with and won with are still playing in the league. You have several of those guys still on the team right now, and Robert Thomas and, Oscar Sundquist and Parayko. There's a bunch of guys that are still here. You think that is a tough spot to be in?
Yes and no. I think that very similar to Mark Bergevin, who was probably the funniest teammate around. Your personality and the way you deal with people and the way you interact has to change and adjust. And that I think that as former teammate of while I was still playing when I would have interactions, it changed. The dynamic changed, and you don't fault the person. Like, it's the reality of their position. And I think showing them that respect and giving them that grace is part of it on both sides. It's not that they're being dismissive or distant. It's just understanding that that's their role now, and it changed, and they're now the principal of the school. So it's a different dynamic.
What do you make out of Kyrou right now? I mean, he had 3 consecutive seasons where he was scoring a ton of goals. It's just an off year where the entire team has had off years. Jamal, in the history of the Blues, they've never had a team that didn't have a 20-goal scorer. And right now, I think Thomas got his 18th yesterday. So they're probably going to have a couple of these guys get to 20, but there aren't that many games left. And you have Snuggerud and Kyrou and Holloway. I think they're all around 17. Buchnevich is at 16, somewhere around there. So I would imagine they'll get there. The only time they ever had a team without a 20-goal scorer was during the lockout in 12-13 when I think Chris Stewart led the team with 18 goals. But every other season in their existence, they've had at least one 20-goal scorer. So how would you evaluate Kyrou based off of what we've seen this season?
A down year, but not all of it's on him. Everybody had a down year, so just put him in the same category. I think the decision to me is you're going to have to take a little bit less and move on. I think the idea that you're going to let him play, come back next year, play him in October, November, hopefully he starts well, and then you move him to what? To get a better pick or a better player? Like, if you're going to make the decision to move on, in my opinion, like, the summer is the time to move on from a player. I don't know if he gets back to that 40 goal threshold area where he has been in the past. I think sometimes even for the player, a fresh start in the summer would be healthy for him, even mentally, training, getting excited about something new. Sometimes you just get to that point, and I honestly, you know what, I have every confidence in Steiner that he has that sense and understanding that to do what's right. I think that it's the time. That's just my honest opinion. And I'm not in the room. I'm not around as much as you are, but just from seeing it and seeing other guys have to go on and move on, it's sometimes the best move for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Well said. All right. Who brings you to Hockey Sense each and every week, Jamal Mayers?
Well, first of all, it's Bartolino's. They got 5 restaurants: Bartolino's South, Bartolino's Osteria, Chris's Pancake and Dining, Chris's at the Docket, Bartolino's Twin Oaks is my favorite. They've forged many lasting relationships with their customers. Their family motto: cook good food, serve plenty. 50 plus years in business. Only 2 places to dine: at home or at one of Bartolino's family restaurants.
Hungry, man. I could use that right now. I could use that.
I'm telling you what, I know it seems like it's going to be summer. We go back to winter for a couple days and it just scares me. But the best part about our friends at Dobbs is they'll take care of you. I know your wife runs into curves. I run into nails going on a construction site. You have to replace the tires. They're not going to sell you the most expensive tire. You tell them what your budget is, they'll get you in the best tire. They understand why you're there. They'll let you know, hey, you need an alignment. You actually need to replace two. You don't need to replace all four. Doesn't matter what car you drive, a car, light truck, van, SUV, hybrid, EV, or anything. They will get your car diagnosed, fixed, up, fixed, and out the same day. Go to Dobbs.com for more.
There you go. There you go. Let's talk some spas.
Oh, buddy.
My
I
girl.
know you're working my sponsor. You're not even going to tell me. You're just going to wait. Or are you going to tell me what your deal is? You probably got something on the go. Who knows? I think I saw a commercial of you and Cam in one of the hot tubs that they have in Fenton. But anyway, you can tell me later. Local master spa dealer with 2 locations, Sunset Hills and Overland Park in Canvas. Mike Leahy's the owner of Spas and More. They deal with Master Spas, which is an American-made company, hot tub and swim spas. They're located in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They're the largest hot tub and swim spa manufacturer in the U.S. Michael Phelps, the Chili Go tubs. I'm getting one of those. Can't wait. Angie Hess, Mike's daughter, runs the show down there at Sunset Hills. Spas and More offers high-quality hot tubs, swim spas, cold tubs, and infrared saunas for all of their health, wellness, and relaxation needs. Turn your backyard oasis into the oasis of your dreams with a master spas from Spas and More. Spas and More, located at 12957 Gravois Road in Sunset Hills, where we put the
In the spa.
That's it.
All right, Jammer. Hey, how'd your team do at Nationals? I know you guys beat Pittsburgh in the 3rd game, right?
Yeah. Yes,
And
there's.
then how'd the game go against LA?
Well, first game we lost in overtime to Little Caesars. That was a tough one. They're like 4th in the country. Then we played Mid Fairfield, who was the best team in the country, and we lost 3-2.
Did Mid Fairfield win it?
They won it all. They won by like 8 goals or something crazy in the final.
Okay.
Then we played I want to say Okanagan, beat them 3-0. Then we played Pittsburgh, beat them, and then our last game was against LA, and I think we just ran out of gas. We ended up losing 6-2. But boys played hard, learned a lot, and played well against 2 of the best teams in the country. Tough draw playing those 2 teams first, but
Right off the bat, yeah.
yeah, very proud of them.
Yeah. Okay, you should be. So now what? Now it's into the spring. What's your advice to the hockey parents out there of immediately after the season now and then focusing on, okay, how should we attack the spring and the summer?
Well, the first thing is if your kid is under the age of 12, I would suggest playing another sport, and maybe you attend spring hockey whenever you can, but you let the baseball, you let the soccer, you let the other sport be the priority. It's really important that they have the dexterity and the ability and develop different muscles to do different sports. And then the reality is you do have to have touches on the ice. And so the days are gone where you can just take 4 months off or 3 months off, unfortunately. So getting those 1 to 2 or 3 times a week touches for incremental times throughout the summer is important. As they get to 13, 14, 15, I think that the shift has to then become getting fit, stronger, faster, more agile, to defend yourself against injury prevention and things of that nature. And, just continue to let them enjoy and love the game.
Yes.
That's the key.
Okay. Good advice. All right, Jammer. Great stuff, man. We'll talk to you next Friday. I'll be back in the studio next week.
Awesome. I'll be out of town. I can't wait.
We'll see. We'll be at the same time in one place at some point here.
I'm finishing the last 8 games of the regular season. I'm doing every game. So wherever the Sharks are, the last 8 games of April, I'm there.
Where you headed?
Starting Saturday. So Saturday I'll be in San Jose.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Easter Sunday, I'm playing Pebble Beach, buddy.
Are you really?
Yes.
Who you playing with? Have you played there before?
Never played. Yeah, playing with my brother-in-law, my wife's cousin, and my buddy Alan Hoshida, who's our host on NBC California.
Are you guys, is your family coming out for Easter or they're going to be back in St. Louis?
No, they'll be in St. Louis.
Yeah, okay. Well, good for you, man. Well, enjoy that.
I will let you know how I might have to tell you how I shoot. I'm a little nervous
Yeah.
about the wind, but we'll see. We'll have fun.
I'm about to go for a walk on the beach right now.
Oh, look at you. Where are you staying? In the lobby? Where is that? It's a Ritz?
I'm in my room. We're in LA at the Shutters on the beach, baby.
Oh, wow. It's a step up.
I know.
Dude,
Pretty nice.
it's a good league.
It's a good league.
Go eat something. It's never hungry league.
I know, man. These guys have it made. There's no question. But I'm just along for the ride, Jammer. It's not bad.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Okay.
You deserve it.
I appreciate it. All right, we'll see
Bye.
you soon. Take care.
Take care.
All right, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Hockey Sense. Brought to you by First Community. Again, First Community. Did you know April is Credit Union Month? Credit Union Youth Month, actually, at First Community. So the year Youth Month is all about savings. And you know you need to save for the youth. They have fun stuff for kids to do online and in our in the branches and have a chance to win prizes. So take your kids in there to win a prize at First Community. As always, having any of their youth savings accounts means money for good grades plus invitations to exclusive events. Money for good grades. I love that. Opening an account for your child or grandchild is a great way to teach the kids the importance of saving money at an early age. Take your kids in there to First Community and find out more about this great incentive that they have over at First Community, firstcommunity.com. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Find a location nearest you. Download the app today. Lordo's Diamonds, lordosdiamonds.com, 314-432-8008. They got the best selection of engagement rings. They got everything over there at Lordo's Diamonds. And, of course, Easy Tiger, cannabis, Frontenac detailing. Make sure that car looks nice for the spring and summer. You don't want to be running around with a dirty car. Go get that detailing over there at Frontenac Detailing, right there off of Limburg, inside the Honda Frontenac location. Kirkwood Fence. We've got all our friends doing great things right now who support us here at Hockey Sense. We're going to continue on. Next Friday will be on our regularly scheduled day. We're doing this show before the Anaheim game on Friday. So if you listen to this, you're looking for some reaction from the Anaheim game, you won't get it, just based on the travel schedule and everything else that's coming with that. So next week, back in studio next Friday. Looking forward to that. For Maddie, for Jamal Mayers, for Steve Odd, for everybody over at Half Coast Studios, I'm Andy Strickland, reminding you to keep your head up and your stick on the ice. We'll do it again next Friday in studio. I'm looking forward to that. For everybody here at Half Coast Studios, I'm Andy Strickland. Have a great weekend, everybody.